Welcome back to Combust Astrology. My name's Liv, and let's cover Saturn and Aries for Virgo rising. So I'm going to get straight to the point because you guys don't like to waste your time. So let's look at your 10th house because that's a good way to analyze this transit. Why the 10th house? So you guys, being the mutable axis, is ruled by, well, a lack of faith. That's really what you are. And that's, just to be very frank, a lack of faith in anything unless there is proof or unless I can quantify it or unless yada, yada, yada. Okay? Virgo risings have a very peculiar life goal, in my opinion, if you just disregard all the other placements. And that's really just to be able to believe, to be able to try, to not make everything a sort of competition. Or, because there's duality, if you're going to go all in, you might as well continuously set the standard. You're kind of like AI, if I had to say so. Like if I really had to say it, you're basically AI. Your rising is Virgo, continuously making sure that you can be better and better and better. Because your 12th house is Leo. So the meticulousness of everything is always what you look for. You know, it's expected that things get better. You're always looking to increase the standard. And then the way that you process subconsciously, tied in with your native emotional intelligence, is very deep. So now, not only are you very intuitive about wanting to make something better, but you're really wanting to go deeper with it. And then your desire to reach these goals are fueled by, well, war. And it's restless, and you just can't stop, honestly. But then, why am I mentioning the 10th house? It's mostly what the hell? It's mostly because here we can see the mutable axis affects you mostly in your career, your identity, especially if you have Gemini or Gemini placements. Your midheaven being in Gemini is everything to you. It is how you can be free. Because in your point of view, if I can have the ability to be versatile and change whenever I want, then no one has to be my boss, right? Especially if you have Gemini placements. You'd rather be your own boss because your air signs are all air. And for the most part, there are very few careers outside of what I think entrepreneurship or some sort of freelancing or anything that you have a little bit of reins to yourself, or maybe you're a higher part of a business that gives you freedom, but you still work to get there. Your 6th house having Aquarius, you're always going to be leaning towards freedom. So everything you do is to kind of form as a hedge so that you can have that freedom. And as it would be so, that freedom is very much a desire to eventually have a very spiritual life, right? And we're going to look at that with the 7th house. Now, for you, you just had Saturn there for like a big majority of, oh wait, hold on a second. All right, I had to make sure the other chart I was pulling up wasn't someone's birth information. I try to delete them before I do these. You know, HIPAA violation or whatever. Let's go back a year. So Saturn was recently in your 7th house. It'll be in there again. Okay, so what happened, right? With Saturn in your 7th, it creates a dynamic where, one, you're looking for spiritual people no matter how far they are, because this will now incorporate an aspect of distance here. And then you're also looking to break away from this current construct of what it is that gives you meaning. Now, coincidentally, the North Node going through your 8th house since 2023 really desired that meaning even more, because how do we find meaning? We find it in other people, what it is that we do and what other people do. And so either you were looking for a very meaningful relationship, a very passionate partner, kind of like the Leo risings, but more so for you, it was like, how do I connect with people to do something that helps the masses? You know, and it's got to be speaking. It's got to be something where you can express yourself and you can constantly change. It has to be free. But as luck would have it more, I don't know, Pluto now leaving your fifth house, where you've been busting your ass since 2008 to climb some weird corporate ladder that kind of rendered you null and void, no freedom, right? No dating, no real like fun, just being trapped. If anything, the Pluto squaring your eighth house meant that you were really trying to make something long term really work. And it was like, you were just in there. Like there was no going out. Right. And it was very like, unintentionally capitalistic, I guess, because the stature of what is the best for you is based upon, well, what does it look like? Because your third house being in Libra is like, okay, do I have the most expensive this? How does the relationship look? How does the family dynamic look for me? Am I able to go wherever I want? I really want this, because from that point of view, if you weren't cognizant of it and you didn't have the financial means when you were younger, you operated from that Leo 12th house. That's like, I should be the one on top. Look at these people. They're incompetent. I'm better. What do you mean? Like, I know how to do this better. And so every time you would go into somewhere, you would operate from that 12th house, which would let the Aquarius side of you really shine in your workplace, which is why I go back to the 10th. So you guys are very competent workers, very, very good at making things better. You're like, if you don't have like high Aquarius or Gemini, it could just produce itself more on wanting to make things easier for people, because then it'd be the 11th house in Cancer. But if you have more of those Saturnian or Mercurial placements in your chart, then it's like, yeah, you're going to find yourself drawing into things where you can kind of make it more efficient. Analyzing how something is flowing and making it better is your forte, right? Whereas, given you have more water signs, it'll be psychology due to the 11th house, the 3rd house, and the 7th house. You have a spiritual gift. Check 7th house. The way you connect with other people, you can feel it. You literally think in such a deep way, and you're always looking for the true meaning behind what people say. Natural detective. 3rd house, Scorpio. Check. And then looking for the well-being of other people and seeing what people, what people are dealing with horrible. Ooh, I think my pancakes are burning. Hold on. I got myself a little cute waffle maker, and it was the best Amazon purchase I've done in a while. Anyway, what was I saying? Oh, right, the Cancer. So you're looking to help people and try to make things better for people themselves, because the 7th house, the spiritual aspect, and then you could look at where Neptune is or where Jupiter is. But if you're more so like you have more fire placements, then now you're looking at more of that desire to just be free and truly run with the wind, right? For instance, if you have Saturn in the 8th, you feel like you're in a constant strain between probably trying to create a long-term connection just out in the woods. Saturn trining your 4th house and your 12th house is like, I just want to travel. And so if we come back to what 2023 did, you'll kind of notice that you really got like strained, I want to say, because Saturn here is sitting, and it's, let me remove this, because actually, no, I'll just leave it like this. So Saturn, the restrictor or whatever, just really trying to make sure you get, I know you didn't fucking just do that. Just trying to make sure you get things the exact, if anyone knows how to disable that, please let me know. Try to make sure that you actually get things to where you need it. It was doing a lot in your 7th house, because the 7th house being contracts and long-term commitments, opposing your 1st house. If work, for instance, was stressful, then it would make you sick. If you were connecting with people that weren't good for you, it would make you sick. Things were happening at home, and you had to choose between work and family. And then also you learning the deeper parts of your subconscious in a very meaningful connection with other people. All these things were getting pivoted. And then if it didn't make things worse, work was probably going to be a lot. A lot of things were happening as Jupiter was in Gemini. I think this is like people that were like younger, like 24 to 26 have Jupiter in Gemini. No, actually, I'm not even going to bother guessing. So that was a lot of spending as well, because, Jupiter was trining your second house. Jupiter was opposing your fourth house if you didn't move. Like there was a lot of things going on. It was a very, very chaotic year. Maybe you decided to alter your image because of the fact that the North Node in Aries, um, if you look at it, trining your 12th house was like, I can be better than this. Like I can definitely do better for myself. The North Node is a desire to have self independence, a desire to have your own like insecurities kind of connected. So what you could have also done was find someone that gave you a sense of proxy towards a lifestyle that you wanted to live, and I don't know, maybe dated, or you looked at them as a mentor so that you could strengthen your own subconscious self. But ultimately that would just have shown you that you probably don't even need the environment you're in. Anyway, so now we can actually come into Saturn in Aries for you. Laying down the foundation of everything I just said, Saturn in Aries just wants you to be happy. That's actually really it. It just wants you to find a sense of contentment. Because currently, right now, it's a lot. Jupiter leaving your 10th house, it's so much. Oh my God, Jupiter's in the last degree of your 10th house. Oh yeah, Jupiter's about to go into Cancer in a few hours. And Mercury. That's cute. So Saturn and Neptune sitting here are just like, hey, what is it that you truly want? This is a nice little cycle to see how it is that you can live that free lifestyle that you've been craving, that you can have that everlasting love that you so badly want. Because in your 8th house, it's connection with other. Having 8th house fire placements, I personally, I know this because I have my Venus and Mars here, and it's not a desire to be with a lot of people. It's truly a desire to be with one person, because 8th house is Scorpio. So you take the ruler of the house and you shade it upon the actual placement, and you're going to find yourself with it being Aries or ruled by Mars as well. You're just looking for that one person that could be there that has the vigor, or you're looking to create that one stable source of income that you're going to be able to sustain your own self and be very happy financially, right? That's the immediate opposition. That's what you're looking for. Now, a good way to get the outcome is by working with people, by being there for people. As Jupiter enters Cancer, and I'll cover this in another video for the signs, and these videos are going to take a while. I'm like, I can't do the whole hour thing yet, because I channel when I do this, and I'm like, I'm not sitting for an hour just to do readings. Like, you're going to get a video a day or something. I'll stretch it out. But Jupiter in the 11th house is like, okay, in order to go on the next stage of whatever it is that you want, either the relationship or the financial freedom, you're going to have to find a way to do it by helping and interacting with others. And most importantly, bro, have some actual fun. And no, this cannot involve drinking. Oh, I should put this in red. It can't be like it I don't want to say it can't, because, God forbid this video goes viral and people are like, what do you mean you can't? Yeah. Whatever. You can't, I wouldn't make it something that's related to drinking or something that's like too heavily, what I'm going to say, capitalistic. And I've come from the finance where I'm telling you this straight up, like going out to have meetings to then drink and then go home in a suit depressed. Like, that's the type of thing. I'm not saying you can't have a cocktail with your friends or your besties or whatever. You're probably going to do things because your 7th house is Pisces. So a good way of you evolving as a person is just being okay with what you can't control. I know y'all cannot fucking do that. You anxiety riddled ass people. You need to just let go. So your 7th house is going to teach you that over the course of your lifetime, especially as the North Node is here. You have to trust that everything's going to be okay. And a good way to do that is by having fun, even when there's uncertainty in front of you, which goes back to like not drinking yourself away or partying. But it could be something that for you guys, you really want it to be spiritually leaning. You want to go into beautiful areas. You want to have amazing conversations. I would picture myself somewhere in India, or I don't know, somewhere where there's nature with not a lot of people, not too many people, sitting there conversing about life and spiritual topics and just enjoying it. Because your fifth house naturally isn't like, I need to go and I don't know, skydive or some shit like that. Unless you have like a lot of Sag, because then it'd be in your fourth house, and I would rather look at it like enjoying a simpler, slower life and having fun in that way. And then over the course of the years, as you do this with people in mind, like maybe it's a lot of volunteering. Saturn is penance, blah, 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 and Saturn is Saturday. So on Saturdays, you could like look towards fasting and helping in your missions that are around you or your churches. You don't have to be Christian or Muslim or Jewish to practice the Abrahamic faiths or volunteer. You could just literally just pull up and be like, hey, I got a little hat, or I got this Quran, and what's up? I got a little cross on me. And then you could just smile and wave. And through that, you find the communications and the conversations. Now, if it is a relationship, then you are going to want to look towards what you do every day, because you're probably going to need someone that's just as driven anyway, as this sextile is your 10th house. So it's not like it's not going to go there. And then they're also going to need to have the ability to want to be free as well. I would incorporate Venus just casually because Venus rules your ninth house, and the ninth house would mean that person would be stable. But then in contrast, in conversation to you, they know how to have a much deeper sense of communication. That would really be it. But I don't really want to kind of read this from the romance point of view too much, because I mean, you need to see the other person's chart. So in conclusion, as Saturn and Neptune conjunct, I'm typing Saturn. I'm just writing these little timestamps. Saturn and Neptune. I'm one person. Y'all are gonna have to bear with me. Neptune conjunct 17. Damn, I've been talking for 17 minutes. For 17 minutes in that 8th house, it's just believing that it can be real, believing that you can have it. It trines your 12th house and the 4th. And so, yeah, if I had to build a lifestyle for you, it would just not be working. It would be floating, connecting with people, talking to people, making new friendships. The Pluto in the 6th house is not a 9-to-5 worker. It is a CEO of multiple businesses that you don't know, that's wearing Target jacket with Levi's jeans, flying places, keeping a very low profile, not telling people anything that they do. It's not flashy, it's not big. It's like, I'm independent. I just want to talk to human beings. I want to have a spiritual experience. I've conquered the financial aspect. And as Uranus leaves your 9th house into your 10th, and it starts to sextile Saturn, you're really going to feel that. You're just going to have no patience for these people. And, Jupiter squaring, I'll talk about the Jupiter square in the Jupiter videos, but it's going to be more about the people. You're going to see injustice done in your workplace, and you're like, this is fucked up. I can't keep working for this, even if it means I make less money, etc., etc., etc. Okay. That's it. I've yapped enough. Good luck.